One of the stories that comes to mind out of the many is a story that deals with a man named Simon. He had stood up during the church service and said that he had a dream the night before, that the Lord had told him to come to this church, this specific one in this specific town, and he didn't know why, but he was going to go. And so he followed those instructions, and there he was. He also admitted that he was an alcoholic and had struggled with drinking for quite a while. I made sure to find him after the service. I wanted to just hear his story, hear his heart, and find out, just a little bit more about his struggles. He had decided that day at the church service at the end to surrender his life to the Lord, and so he was beginning a journey that was very unfamiliar to him, and I wanted to make sure that I could encourage him in any way possible. I met with him afterwards, after the service, and just kind of wanted to process and talk through his decision and his struggles and what that looked like with his family, and just to really get his heart. A sweet, sweet man who just had fallen in love with the Lord and was convinced without a shadow of a doubt that God had brought him there for a purpose, and he wanted help with his struggle with alcohol. I told him that I would just love to encourage him in that, and he asked if I'd be willing to come out to his home, to his village, and to visit with his family, and potentially maybe form a group that could be an accountability group to him, that he could really be encouraged to continually on a daily basis turn to the Lord instead of to alcohol. And I without a doubt said I would, and told him that I would do my best to get there as soon as I could. One thing with Sudanese is your words mean everything, and so I knew that that was a promise that I was going to need to fulfill. I found myself 3.5, 4 weeks later having not been out to his home yet, not for a lack of desire, but simply because my schedule had not allowed it, and I knew that it was going to be so hard. I had a scheduled regimen of different villages that I was going out to, and of course in Sudan, things come up that are unplanned, and so you just deal with them as they come. And I found myself talking to the lady that I partnered with, Scovia, and telling her to join me in prayer for the Lord just to provide an opportunity for us to go visit him. And so that morning I was praying, and I really cried out to the Lord and asked him, Lord, I don't know how to make time for this. I need you to provide this for me. Show me a time that I can fill this out to fulfill my promise to him, and went on my way. That afternoon, we had a scheduled visit to go out to a village far out. And on our way back, something felt funny on the motorbike, and we stopped and pulled over and looked, and we realized that we had a flat tire. And so we looked up, it almost immediately began raining, and we saw there was a huge tree that just so happened to have a bike mechanic under it. There were a number of different men sitting around, and I just asked, I was just curious, I said, can you tell us what village, where are we? And the man said, you're in Congapo. And I looked at Scovia, and I knew immediately, we both just realized it. We had broken down in Simon's village. We were literally 2 minutes away from where his hut was. And I just knew immediately the Lord had answered my prayer from that morning, and he had provided a way, albeit in the rain with a flat tire, to visit with Simon. The Lord had decided that he was going to make a time, and this is how he was going to do it. And so what was to come was just an amazement to me. He introduced me to his wife, to his children, his nieces and nephews that he was taking care of, and some other children that had been orphaned. And come to find out, in meeting his wife and talking to her for a little bit, she had been convinced that every Sunday since I'd met him, he was going off on drinking binges. She had asked the Lord if it were true, if he had actually changed, if he was really going to church on Sundays and not going off to drink, that God would send this person that he kept talking about. And by bringing me there to confirm that I was this white girl that he had met at church and had talked to and was going to come to visit, that indeed he was changed. It was the truth. And that day she had decided to surrender her life to the Lord. Over the next few weeks, as I formed a relationship with his family and with his friends, those he worked with, and in his village, a number of people came to know the Lord directly related to the change that happened in Simon's life that morning. What I came to realize after all of this, of course you can see the Lord has such a way about him. His sovereignty is amazing. He can place us where he wants us, when he wants us, and how he wants us, just as he did. It would have been so easy to think and be frustrated that we got a flat tire in the rain and it was an inconvenience, but that was his grace gift to us. to allow us that opportunity to be there in a time when He needed us there for the sake of so many people. And then also, something that seems so minor, so little and minute to us, simply me saying to Simon that I would come visit him, which was honestly just a privilege for me to get to meet more people, see more of South Sudan, visit another village, get to know more of their hearts and their culture, can be so much more than we could ever imagine or fathom. The Lord could use it for the salvation of souls. He could use it for the transformation of a family, and ultimately the transformation of a village, which one day might lead to the transformation of a new country. I know that it may seem like an extreme task and something that is not comprehensible to help people that are halfway around the world, but I can tell you any little bit helps. You know, any little donation, any bit of time, any amount of prayer can absolutely change a person's life in a way that you could never imagine. So take it from me, having experienced this myself in numerous ways, the Lord can do much with little, and He asks of us to do such things as this.
To find out how you can help provide education and share the gospel in Sudan, please visit hopeforsudan.net. All funds raised through Hope for Sudan are processed in partnership with E3 Partners Ministry, member of the ECFA.